Hi guys, welcome to class today. So today we're going to be working with our essential question, how can we solve for a variable? Go ahead and make sure you have this yellow page of notes out of the folder on your desk, and then let's fold it. Unfortunately, it didn't copy perfectly, so you're not going to fold it exactly in half, but you want this solving equations to be on front, and then open it up and see the inverse operations on the bottom. So when I fold it, it's going to look like this. There's actually going to be just a little bit left over right there, which is totally fine. Just because when it copied, the margins got a little bit messed up. Let's go ahead, pause this video for you to get your notes out and get your paper folded, and then press play again when you're ready to start taking the notes. Okay, so as I said, our essential question today is how can we solve for a variable? Let's zoom in just a little bit more right there. We've been working with variables for a while. I want to remind you that a variable represents an unknown quantity. So a variable could be X, it could be Y, it could be A. It's any letter that represents an unknown quantity. Our first step is to do the distributive property, combine like terms, and then combine double signs if necessary. Steps 1, 2, and 3 are not going to be necessary quite yet. Today, we're going to focus really on steps 4, 5, and 6. Okay, we talked about these yesterday, and I wanted to have them written out for you in notes just to make sure you understand the steps that we're taking. So step 4 would be, or the step 1 that we're starting with today, would be to undo any addition or subtraction. So remember, the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. If I have x minus 3 equals 10, well, to undo this subtraction right here, I actually have to do addition on both sides. Remember, whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we must do on the other side. Negative 3 plus 3 cancels out to 0. So now I have my variable all by itself. I know what x will equal. X will equal 10 plus 3, which is 13. So first step is we undo any adding or subtracting. The second thing we do then is going to be undoing any multiplication or dividing. So if I had x over 3, this is x divided by 3. We've gone over this several times, so really make sure you're familiar with a variable over a number means you are dividing. If you do not remember that, go ahead and pause this video and write down right here that this is division. Well, let's think, what is the opposite of division? Multiplication. So that means if I have x divided by 3 equals, let's say, 9, in order to get the x or our variable all by itself, I need to multiply both sides by 3, because 3 over 3 becomes 1. That simplifies out. And then I get x equals 27. 9 times 3. So now I have solved for the variable. Our goal is to always isolate the variable, get the variable by itself. And then in step 6, you can always go back and check your answer by plugging in what you got for x into the actual problem. So if I do 27 divided by 3, that does in fact equal 9. So I know my answer is correct. Let's quickly open up the inside of your notes where we're talking about inverse operations. Okay, inverse operations are operations that are opposite each other. For instance, addition or adding is the opposite of subtracting. So these two go together. If you see a problem that's adding, the opposite or inverse operation would be to subtract, and then the opposite of multiplication, I'm just going to abbreviate multiplication, would be to divide. Okay. The way addition works or looks in a problem, let's say we have 3x plus 5 equals 15. This is the addition piece right here. So first thing I would have to do would be to do the opposite, which would be subtract 5 from both sides. You could also have it written with your answer on this side. So I could say 16 equals 2 plus 3x. Okay, this right here is what's being added. Addition is the number that is all by itself. Addition is not attached to an x. So even though there's a plus 3x right here, This is 3 times x. We can put that down for a multiplication one. 3 times x, the only way to separate this then is to divide. So addition is the number that is all by itself. Subtraction, we could say 4x minus 7 equals 30. This is the subtraction piece right there. It's pretty obvious, but again, the 4x cannot be subtracted, only the 7, because the 7 is all by itself. So let's make a note right here. The addition and subtraction refer to numbers that are by themselves. Okay, so that does not mean it's a number with a variable. I could also have something like 20 equals negative 8 minus 5x. Again, even though this minus 5x has a subtraction sign in front of it, only this negative 8 is considered being subtracted, because this is 5 times x. So for adding and subtracting, we are only looking at the numbers that are by themselves. Okay, multiplication and division. Multiplication looks like a number attached to a variable. So 3x plus 5 equals 15. It's the same problem we had up here. The multiplication piece is this piece right here. This is 3 times x. I could also have negative 2x plus 8 equals 20. Even though there's a negative sign here, this is still the multiplication. This just means it's negative 2 times x. A number right next to a variable means you're multiplying. It also is true with fractions. I could have 1/2 x equals 8. This is 1/2 times x. Anytime I have a number next to a variable with nothing else in between them. So 3x, this is 3 times x. Negative 2x, this means negative 2 times x. 1/2 x, this means 1/2 times x. And then our final operation, division. Division looks like x over 3 equals 21. This means x divided by 3 equals 21. Or I could have, let's see, we could have 8 over x equals 16. This means 8 divided by x equals 16. Okay, 8 divided by x equals 16. What's another way we could show division? Of course, you could have the division sign. Most of the time, you're going to see division written like this, with a variable on top of a number equals another number. So x divided by 3 equals 21 is what this problem is saying right here. Okay, go ahead and glue these notes into your math notebook and then move on to the Khan Academy practice. The link is on my Schoology page.